They snuck out of their homes after dinner and climbed up on a tree in the forest, eagerly waiting for midnight when the sacrifice would take place. When the event started, what Pawumba told them and what they observed were two totally different things. There was no food or music in sight. Dear listeners, the story I have for you today is one that is full of lessons for children and adults. It is a story of how two young boys almost lost their lives as a result of their mischief. Within the hills of East Africa is a beautiful village called Ngori. Ngori village is nestled between the Azura Valley. The village is surrounded by rolling green hills, their slopes carpeted with wildflowers that blooms in vibrant hues. With its breathtaking landscapes and timeless ambience, Ngori offers a perfect retreat for anyone seeking peace and natural beauty. But you see, within Ngori lived two mischief makers who terrorized the village. Meet Tendo and Akelo, the little rascals of Ngori. Tendo and Akelo, both 11 years old, are best friends. They did everything together and went everywhere together. They were inseparable. Known far and wide for their boundless energy and mischievous trick, the pair were both adored and dreaded by villagers. They were full of pranks and tricks that often annoyed and exasperated the villagers. One time, they were found crouching in the bushes, waiting for girls who were returning from fetching water. While in the bushes, they would giggle mischievously and wait for the footsteps of the girls. And when the sounds were close enough, the boys would jump out, screaming, scaring the girls into dropping the pots full of water and breaking the pots. For this prank, they were made to fill up the water pots of their unfortunate victims for 3 days. However, their mischief did not end with scaring girls and breaking pots. During the last festival of harvest, they stole one leg of footwear from every villager that attended the festival and they put them at the village gate. What an inconvenience! And for this prank, they were made to sweep the village square for the next 7 days. You would think that these boys would have learned their lesson. But tell me why these two rascals thought it was a good idea to steal mangoes from Papa Kato's mango farm. Or was it when they stole Papa Okot's cap when he was having a haircut? They put glue around his cap and returned the cap. And unsuspecting Papa Okot wore the cap and couldn't take it off for days. No matter the punishment given to these boys for their pranks, they just never stopped. It seemed like there was no end to their mischief. They were so notorious for their ways that whenever they were passing by, people would yell, "Hey, Tendo and Akelo, what are you up to this time? Whose goats and chickens have you let loose? Don't come near my property, oh. Stop causing mischief." Akela and Tendo would just laugh and keep going. Now, the hunting season drew close and the people of Ngori were excited. The hunting season came with the promise of ample food to eat and money to be made by selling animal products to other villages and nearby cities. It was customary for sacrifices to be made at the start of the hunting season. The people would ask the gods to bless their efforts and make it easy to catch the best animals and bring back a huge feast. The sacrifice was done at midnight when the full moon hung in the sky. All the people of Ngori knew the rules and protocols of the sacrifice. Only the chief priest was allowed to go into the forest on the night of the sacrifice, along with men older than 18. Few days before the sacrifice was to be made, Tendo and Akelo were lying by the bush path, eating some oranges they had just stolen from a farm. I heard that everything that happens during the hunting sacrifice is top secret and nobody is supposed to know, said Tendo. What if we went to ask Pawomba to tell us, replied Akelo. Pawomba was one of the oldest men in the village and you would often find him sitting down under the tree telling stories to the kids. Great idea, let's go right now, said Tendo. Together, the kids ran towards the tree hoping to find Pawomba. Sure enough, he was there and he listened attentively as the kids greeted him and asked the questions. Good afternoon, Pawomba. We have been looking for you. We want to ask you about the sacrifice for the hunting season. Pawomba asked, what do you boys want to know? We want to know what happens during the sacrifice. Nobody tells us. And when we asked our parents, all they told us was that younger people were not allowed to join, explained Akelo. Why can't we join the sacrifice? Asked Tendo. Ah, boys, said Pawomba, the sacrifice is nothing special. The only thing we do is dance and sing and eat. One day, when you are old enough, you will attend the sacrifice. It is not yet for your age. The boys started to walk home, wondering why they couldn't join. If all they do is dance, sing and eat, why can we not join? Asked Tendo. It sounds like a celebration, and if there is food, why can't they share with us? Wondered Akelo. We should check it out, said Tendo as he threw a piece of rock at a family of ducks. Over the next few evenings, they made plans to meet up on the night of the sacrifice. They snuck out of their homes after dinner and climbed up on a tree in the forest, eagerly waiting for midnight when the sacrifice would take place. When the event started, what Pawomba told them and what they observed were two totally different things. There was no food or music in sight. They watched carefully with their ears perked up as the chief priest raised a pot of water to the sky and danced around the smooth medium-sized rock in the center. Soon after, the water was poured on the rock by one of the priests as he walked around the rock and everyone else danced around making a chant. Kibo, Kibo, hear our plea. Grant us a hunt that is prosperous and free. Kibo, Kibo, God of the land, bless our hunt with a fruitful hand. At this, the boys sat up and waited for something to happen, hoping that maybe right after, they would bring out some food and play some music, and the merriment would start. But nothing happened. In fact, shortly after, the men dispersed and went home. Disappointed, the boys climbed down the tree and made their way home, annoyed that they had been lied to by Pawomba. The next morning, they met up the way they usually did. The first thing they said to each other was, Pawomba lied. I was looking forward to eating delicious food last night. I even skipped dinner so that I could fill my belly. I had to go to bed hungry, cried Akelo. While they talked about last night's disappointing experience, Tendo spotted a rabbit and shouted, Akelo, a rabbit! Let's catch it and roast! They both chased the rabbit down the path into the bush, but the rabbit escaped them. As they were huffing and puffing from all the running, Akelo suggested, maybe we should lay a trap. No, I have a better idea. Let's carry out the sacrifice. It's supposed to make hunting successful, right? Also, we know the song and the dance. Good ideas, cheered Tendo. Let's do it. Together, they picked out a stone that looked nice. Tendo read the incantation and poured water on the rock while Akelo danced and chanted the same words. They chanted the song that they had heard the night before. Kibo, Kibo, hear our plea. Grant us a hunt that is prosperous and free. Kibo, Kibo, God of the land, bless our hunt with a fruitful hand. Afterwards, the boys made a trap out of the vines and attached it to a tree. They returned to the village to play with some of the other kids. About 2 hours later, they decided to check on the trap they had set to see if it had caught any animal. Back at the tree, where they had tied their trap, they found 2 large rabbits in the trap. Wow! Exclaimed Akelo. We caught 2 big ones, one for me and one for you. Let's build a fire and roast them." Together, the boys built a fire. They roasted the 2 rabbits and ate to their satisfaction. "This rabbit is delicious," said Tendo as he polished off the last bite. Moving few bushes aside, the boys cleaned up the mess from their hunting adventure and made their way back home. Next day, the boys quickly made their way to the meeting point and they went towards the bush. Setting the same rock they had used the day before, they repeated the mantra, spilling water on the rock and dancing and chanting. They went hunting in the forest afterwards, and this time, making use of a trap they had found in the bushes, they caught an antelope. "Akelo, look!" cried Tendo. "We caught a baby antelope this time." "I see it," yelled Akelo with joy. "Do you think we should share this with our family?" asked Tendo. "No, we would just get into trouble," muttered Akelo. "They might think we stole it and then they will ask us to sweep the village square and water all the crops in the village. I'm not telling anybody." So they roasted their prey and ate till they were satisfied. The next day, the same thing happened. The boys met as usual and went into the bush once more. Chanting the song and dancing, they made sacrifice to the rock, and their reward for the day were 2 big grass cutters. This was their favorite meal yet. They decided that they would keep this secret for as long as they could. That day, they returned home early and went right to bed, much to the shock of their families. Tendo's mother wondered why he had not been asking for second helpings of dinner for the last few days. The next day, the boys were to resume school for the week. This meant that they wouldn't be able to go to the forest for the next 5 days, and neither boy was happy about this. However, they were eagerly looking forward to when they would go back to the bush to hunt again. On the second day of school, the boys started to fall ill, and by the 3rd day, their health got worse. At first, both of their parents thought they were playing another prank and did not take them seriously. "Get up now, Akelo," called his mother. "You are not going to stay at home from school just because you feel like it. I have seen this prank from you before and it is not going to work this time." By the 5th day, it was obvious to everyone that the boys were sick, and their parents jumped into action, trying out any and everything they could to help their sons get better, to no avail. Soon, the visits from the villagers started, and people brought all sorts of remedies to the home to try to help the boys. Still, nothing worked. The boys remained sick for weeks, slowly looking paler and paler. They couldn't eat, drink, or stand by themselves. Death seemed to be knocking on the door. A family friend suggested that their parents take them to the village priest. He may be able to shed more light on this ailment. Who knows, he might also be able to cure them. The boys were taken to the village priest's shrine, where he was busy preparing things for a ritual. Before they even spoke, the priest held up one hand and stopped them. Looking at the boys from head to toe, he knew that whatever was wrong with the boys was not natural. "What is wrong with these boys?" he asked the parents. "That is what we were hoping you could tell us," Tendo's father said. "We have tried everything to heal the boys, but nothing seems to be working." "Do not bring them any closer," called the priest as he walked back into the hut. "I will be right back." After what felt like hours, the chief priest came out looking horrified. He bellowed, "What have you boys done? Which spirit did you boys trade with?" Dear listeners, indeed it is true that the stubborn flies are buried with the corpse. Let us draw the curtain here today. I will come back to tell you what the village priest revealed and what happened to Tendo and Akelo. Thank you for watching. Please like this video, share and subscribe. Until we meet again, stay kind and be blessed.